inaugurating our president, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. White. Let me say good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Not very much I can say that has not already been said, but I'll try to say something nonetheless. I received this letter from an individual, and it shows the level of urgency and the competitiveness relative to the upcoming general election, and things must be going in a certain direction when, dear Mr. Anthony, I'm running for President of the United States, and because you're one of America's most notable Republicans, I want to personally let you know why. You have a long and proud history of supporting conservative candidates and causes, and I would be honored to earn your support today. I look forward to hearing from you and working with you in the weeks ahead to restore America's promise. Then they asked me for either $5,000, $2,500, or $1,500, $250, and $100, and it's signed by Mitt Romney. So if I'm getting letters like this, and I don't think I have a history of being a conservative individual, very progressive. I'm conservative with my children, but progressive on other issues. But I just say this to say some lightheartedness. This is a very important election. Butch mentioned the super PACs. When the Supreme Court, Dan, made that ruling, they opened up the door for a lot of mischief because international companies and corporations and governments can now influence our election, and they can really buy senators, Congress people, and even the President of the United States, if you put the right kind of paper behind him or her. And the money that's being reported in terms of who made the most money in like August or September, they're reporting the money that the candidate himself raised. They're not necessarily reporting the money that the super PACs have raised. One of the candidates, Mr. Romney, has a surplus budget, which they have not tapped, of $76 million. They're going to drop that in the last 2 weeks. The president has, in that same group of coffers, about 30 million. They have 76 million still counting. They're going to drop that in the last 2 weeks. So when Butch makes the comment that it's not over or forget the polls, he's absolutely correct. These polls don't mean nothing. It's only one poll that's going to be taken. That's the one on the night of November the 6th. And when we wake up, November the 7th, which way the country is going to go and who will be occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Michigan is important, but Michigan is a very, very conservative state. And all these polls, all these folks being asked questions, everybody ain't telling the truth.
That's right.
They're not telling the truth. Some people saying they're going to vote this way, they lying. Some people saying they're going to vote that way, they lying.
That's what they do with affirmative action.
Exactly. And so when they get into that booth, it's an altogether different issue. This right here is devastating.
Yes.
It is.
I just read it. I don't want to have to deal with all this. And I'm a sophisticated, current thinking, progressive, learned individual. I read. The average person who goes to vote, they gonna look at this? Oh, hell no. That's gonna be their position. I'm just telling you. Oh, hell no. It's gonna be a whole lot of no's and a whole lot of blanks, because they're not gonna take the time to deal with this. It is unfortunate we have these 18 ballot proposals, because y'all know, you in here ain't gonna do no 18. You know this. So what do you think that the average person on the street is going to do? I urge churches and community groups get some practice ballots. We got to educate our people. We got to get them to feeling comfortable and to know how important this stuff is. You need to get some ballots for your churches, for your organizations. I like this little thing that I see Marie's doing, Hustle for America. You ain't talking about dancing, having no party. You're talking about learning and stuff like that. But I'm saying those of you who are in churches, temples, synagogues, mosques, you should have some of this stuff and show it to the people so that they'll know what they're dealing with when they walk into that voting booth. Because quite frankly, can you imagine how long it's going to take the people to vote? And the polls are not going to close. Based on this, they're not going to close at 8 o'clock. I mean, they're going to close, but it's going to be a bunch of people in line at 8 o'clock because it's going to take your grandmama, your auntie, Uncle Joe, Big Willie. They're going to take 10 to 15 minutes on this stuff. If they try to do it, that means the time is going to be long. It may mean I'm scared to even suggest it, but you know, I'm a person, I like to stand in line because I can hear what the people are saying. And I like that interaction. But for many people, they can't do it, so we may be pushing people to vote absentee. Because you can vote in the comfort of your home. But they got to know what they're doing. That's why education is very, very important. We got to engage in the education. So I encourage people to get some practice ballots and put them out so that people, I see labor people here, church people, you know, community folk, we need to have these so that folk will know and just show it to them and so they won't be intimidated when they see all this stuff. And quite frankly, we cannot support 4, 5, 6 different ballot proposals. That's a death knell. It's just impossible because that's confusing. That's why the mass media and the corporations are saying vote yes on one or no on everything else. I'm telling you now, we will not be able to do 5 and 6 ballots, proposals, because you can't explain that to people. We have got to prioritize, at least we have to prioritize where we're going to go with this. And not to do so means that we defeat ourselves going in. And the best thing about Proposal 1 on the emergency manager is that it's a no vote. So they're having a hard time trying to get around that. We want you to vote yes on one but no on everything. Well, why not no on everything since you're saying that? And so certainly we support collective bargaining. Because NAACP and labor and workers, that's what we do. We want home health care and all of that. We want WC3Ds, millage to be sustained. That community college is valuable to our community. We want that. And we got to have folk on the Supreme Court. Because you know from practical experience how important that office is for our state. And for us. But we have some great challenges in front of us, and so it's going to require some heavy education and voter mobilization. And they may have written Michigan off to the degree that they're not putting the kind of money here, both campaigns, but Michigan is still up for grabs. It's best that we work like it's still up for grabs. And hopefully because of some of these things on the ballot, people will be more prone to come out and to vote because they have their interest in it. And even if the right person is elected up at the top of the ticket and we still leave the state in the same condition that it's in, we still got a major problem. We got a major problem. If we don't make some changes down that ballot, we got some major issues. And that's the same way if the Congress is not changed. Stalemate, blocking. I see we got somebody from the FBI in here. That's good, because the FBI's funding been cut too. And so I'm talking about the Justice Department. They funding been cut. And we need a strong Justice Department for some justice and not just us. We need that. And so I'm concerned about the lack of the safety net for our folk. You know, I guess I'm talking to 47%, so y'all don't matter anyway. I'm sorry. I had to put that, I'm sorry. on this, I'm sorry. But no, I'm really for the 100%. That's where I am. But I'm simply saying everybody matters. Everyone matters. And we got a big job, y'all. And there's no rest for the weary. So whatever we can do to move this process forward, we need to do that. I think the debates give you an opportunity to organize, have something prior to the debates, such as education. That's a good way to bring folk together. Saturdays, walking on the streets, getting your exercise on and your voter size. You're giving information to folk, but you're also exercising at the same time. That's a good way to do it. The texting, e-blasting. We got to use everything at our disposal to get this word out. And I know we can do it, but it's going to require all of us in this thing together. So we appreciate your being here, and I know that this is the last week going into September, so I think we're going to have, 2 more meetings before the election. I think there'll be 2 more allies meetings before the election to help move this process. And so we thank you for your efforts, but we got to take our souls to the polls and work like our lives depend on it, because quite frankly, our lives are dependent on it. The Supreme Court, that's the big jewel in all of this, because whoever's the president will possibly have the opportunity to appoint 3 people to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that can change this country for the next 50 years. 3 appointments. And don't think, as if we thinking about that, other folk are thinking about that too. And so the foreign policy, the educational issues, this is so critical to all of us. And that's why we're concerned, and I'm very concerned about Election Day, and about folks stealing the election. Because if they can steal it, they will steal it. That's why they're doing all these voter suppression. If your vote wasn't important, there would be no issue in Pennsylvania. There'd be no issue in Michigan. There'd be no issue in Ohio. There'd be no issue in Texas. There'd be no issue in South Carolina. There'd be no issue in Florida. There'd be no issue in North Carolina. There'd be no issue in none of these states, in Wisconsin, because it's not that important. But your vote, our vote, is important. That's why they're doing this. It's not what size hat Abraham Lincoln wore now. It's not what George Washington's horse's name was. It's not how many bubbles are in a bar of soap. It's show me your ID. It's are you a citizen. It's end early voting. It's let's consolidate the time period. It's are you a real American. Those are the new poll taxes. And they're being legitimatized within state constitutions. So when candidates say, well, I'm for to let the states do what they want to do, that's states' rights. That's how we got into the problem in the first place. The states didn't send federal troops to Alabama and Mississippi and Georgia. The federal government did. I can't take no text up in here, but let me just say this. Take your souls to the polls.